Today, Paris is the undisputed city of light, a global icon of romance, arts, and architectural elegance. Its wide, tree-lined boulevards and magnificent monuments are instantly recognizable, a masterpiece of urban design that seems to have always existed. But peel back the layers of this beautiful city, and you find a story of profound chaos, brutal revolution, and a monumental, painful reinvention. The Paris we know today is the result of a deliberate and at times violent transformation. Before the revolution, the identity of Paris was defined by its paradoxes. It was the heart of a powerful kingdom, yet its urban core was a filthy, crowded, medieval maze. The city was a labyrinth of narrow, winding streets that were little more than unpaved alleys, choked with mud, waste, and people. Buildings were packed so tightly that they often leaned into one another, blocking out the sun. This was a city where disease spread rapidly and social unrest simmered beneath a thin veneer of royal order. At its center stood the power of two institutions: the church, embodied by the magnificent Notre Dame Cathedral, and the king, represented by the Grand Louvre Palace. But surrounding these symbols of authority was a teeming population of over 600,000 people, crammed into an incredibly small space. The streets were too narrow for carriages, and the lack of sanitation made them a breeding ground for epidemics. This physical chaos mirrored the social and political tension of the time. The city's poor and working classes lived in squalor, while the nobility and the monarchy lived in opulence, their grand palaces a world away from the crowded slums. The fortress of the Bastille, a medieval prison, stood as a constant, looming symbol of royal oppression. The city was a powder keg, and the physical state of its streets chaotic, disorganized. An easily barricaded would soon prove to be the perfect stage for a revolution. The storming of the Bastille in 1789 was more than a political act. It was the symbolic dismantling of old Paris. The French Revolution ignited a wave of change that would forever alter the city's identity. The narrow streets that had once been a source of chaos now became a strategic advantage for revolutionaries. They were perfect for building barricades, which allowed citizens to resist the king's army. The physical layout of the city was both a reflection of the old order and the key to its destruction. As the revolution raged, the old monuments of royal power were torn down. The Bastille was completely dismantled. Its stones used to build a new bridge, a powerful act of urban transformation. The identity of Paris shifted violently and dramatically from a city defined by royal power and feudal structures to a city of political ideas, social upheaval, and the ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity. For years, the city was in a state of political turmoil and urban stagnation. The era of Napoleon Bonaparte brought a new sense of order and a fresh wave of public works. Napoleon understood the power of urban symbolism. He ordered the construction of new monuments and bridges, many in a grand neoclassical style, to reflect his own imperial ambitions. He commissioned the Arc de Triomphe and the majestic Rue de Rivoli, with its uniform facades, to project a sense of power and a new, Roman-inspired identity for the city. However, these projects were isolated. The core of the city remained an impassable, medieval mess. The population continued to grow, and conditions worsened. The city still lacked a proper sewer system, and cholera outbreaks were a regular, deadly occurrence. The narrow, winding streets remained an ideal location for revolutionary activity, as evidenced by the violent uprisings of 1830 and 1848. The city was in a constant state of turmoil, and it became clear to the next generation of leaders that a radical, and some would say ruthless, transformation was needed to bring Paris into the modern age. In the 1850s, Emperor Napoleon III, haunted by the political turmoil and urban decay of Paris, chose ahead. She's the Basodiachon. He gave a single man, Baron Georges Eugene Haussmann, the almost unlimited power to completely reinvent the city. What followed was one of the most ambitious urban renewal projects in human history. A glow-up on a monumental scale that would forever change the identity of Paris. Haussmann's mission was threefold: to improve public health, to facilitate commerce and movement, and, crucially, to make the city easier to control. His plan was brutal and breathtaking in its scope. He bulldozed entire neighborhoods, wiping away centuries of medieval history. He created a new Paris of straight, wide boulevards, Grando, Abeniesa, and a network of magnificent public parks like the Bois de Boulogne. He integrated a modern sewer system and a water supply, finally ridding the city of its medieval filth and disease. The changes were profound. The old, chaotic, revolutionary city was replaced by a meticulously planned, geometric masterpiece. The new, wide boulevards, lined with uniform, neoclassical apartment buildings, were designed not just for traffic, but to prevent the construction of barricades. The new identity of Paris was one of order, rationality, and breathtaking grandeur. The city was no longer just a collection of neighborhoods. It was a cohesive work of art. This transformation also gave birth to iconic landmarks. The Palais Garnier, the magnificent opera house, and the new railway stations were built as symbols of the city's wealth and cultural prestige. The new streets were adorned with elegant streetlights, earning Paris its famous nickname, the City of Light. While the project was criticized for its high cost and the displacement of thousands of poor residents, it created the timeless, romantic image of Paris that we know today. The grand redesign under Haussmann laid the groundwork for Paris to enter its golden age. The city's new identity was that of a global cultural and artistic capital. It was a haven for artists, writers, and thinkers from around the world. From Picasso and Hemingway to Gertrude Stein. This period was one of incredible creativity, with the city's cafes and salons serving as intellectual and artistic hubs. The Eiffel Tower, initially built as a temporary monument for the 1889 World's Fair, became the ultimate symbol of a modern, innovative Paris. The city was a leader in fashion, cuisine, and fine art, a role it continues to hold today. The 20th century brought new challenges. Paris endured 2 world wars, but unlike many European cities, its core remained largely intact, preserving its unique architectural heritage. The city's identity was now one of both timeless beauty and quiet resilience. It absorbed new waves of immigration, adding layers of diversity to its cultural tapestry and enriching its food, music, and social life. Today, Paris continues its legacy of reinvention. It is a modern global city, a major center for finance, technology, and international relations. Its public transport system, the metro, is one of the world's most extensive, connecting the city's vast urban landscape. However, its identity remains deeply rooted in its history. The wide boulevards of Haussmann's time still stand, a testament to a grand vision that changed the course of urban history. The Seine still flows past ancient bridges, and Notre Dame, even in its state of reconstruction, remains its spiritual heart. The story of Paris is the ultimate example of a city's ability to reinvent itself. It proves that the most beautiful cities are not those that were born perfect, but those that have been forged through revolution, rebuilt with vision, and redefined by generations of people. From a medieval maze to a modern masterpiece, Paris's GlowUp is a story that continues to inspire. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through history.